Hello. All right, I'm muting you. But if you need to communicate with me, by all means, feel free to unmute yourselves and tell me what you need to tell me. Speak your truth, as it were. All right, so let's get started, and we will lie down as per usual. All right. I was prepared to be masked, but I appreciate you guys not minding, and we'll be free. All right. So yeah, on your backs, relax your shoulders. Just let your body soften, right? And just grateful that we can have this moment, that we can be here and do this. There's a lot of people and places around the world who don't really have this luxury. And, you know, I was listening to all that stuff last night, and there are places that hear actual bombs that are real bombs, right? And grateful that we don't have that to worry about, right? Where we can lie down and feel safe, right? And be safe. We're grateful that we have this opportunity, right? The ability to do this, to just be here right now. All right, let's take a couple of deep breaths together. Inhale through your nose. Take a big breath, fill all the way up. As you get to the top, just hold it for a moment there. Try and soften your shoulders. And then release it with a sigh, exhale. And just let the breath go and relax your body. Do that again. Inhale through the nose. And use the inhale to really fill up. Expand as much as you can, right? However much, and then just hold it there. Just feel the inhale and allow yourself to soften into the breath. Release it with a sigh, exhale. Let the breath go and soften some more. And do that one more time. Fill up, inhale. Breathe the back ribs into the floor, right? Fill up, get right up to the collarbones. Pause it there, holding the breath, softening the shoulders. Maybe there's space to sip in a little bit more. Hold it. And then let it go, exhale. And just let the breath pour out through the mouth. And start to come into your Ujjayi breath. Start to direct the breath in and out through your nose. And we'll take a moment, well, maybe a minute or two, as we're lying here, to just drop into the breath. So as you're here, steady Ujjayi breath, allowing the body to be soft, to relax, your face to be soft, right? Relaxing your jaw, softening the eyes, relaxing your forehead. Just gently start to lengthen your breath. Staying soft, staying calm, you know, not to create anxiety, not to create tension or stress in the body or the mind. Just exploring the length of the breath. So you can just count it out, you know, it's like seconds or, you know, it doesn't have to be exact, just something like that. But just slowly lengthening the breath. Lengthen the inhale. Lengthen your exhale. And it can be just 1 second longer each breath or every other breath until you get to a length where you're like, well, that's it. You know, it's comfortably lengthening the breath. Not an inhale that causes you to squeeze and tighten and pull your shoulders up to your ears and all of that. Don't worry about how long it gets, just explore. Comfortably lengthening the inhale to however long it'll go. Comfortably lengthening the exhale. And notice if it's easier to lengthen one versus the other. I feel like it's easier for me to make the exhale longer. I have to slow my inhale down to make it longer. So just see, just notice, right? It is what it is. Try and stay soft. Just explore. Take a few more rounds. Feel free to add a little pause in between the breaths, pausing in the fullness of the inhale. And pausing at the bottom of the exhale, empty of the breath. Notice what happens there too. Following the breath back in. Notice if the pause affects how you inhale or how you exhale. Do one more round. Longest inhale. A pause. The longest exhale. And just a moment holding the breath out as you get to the bottom of the breath. Then take an easy inhale. And a soft sigh exhale. And just take a moment to notice. Just notice the effects of just giving yourself a couple of minutes to just focus on your breath. And to still the mind, quiet the thoughts. All right, so back into your, comfortable, regular length Ujjayi breath. And gently begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. And take a gentle stretch. Reach your arms overhead. Stretch the legs out nice and long. Just feel your body. Hug the knees into your chest. You can pick your head up off the floor. Squeeze yourself into a tiny little ball. Maybe rock a little bit side to side across the low back. And bringing the head back down onto the floor. Let's take a twist. Bring your knees over to the left. And reach out through the right arm. And just a breath or two here, softening in. I forgot to say at the beginning, if you have a block, and I think you guys all have props, or at least those of you that are on here right now, if you have a block or two, just have those handy. Don't need it right now, but potentially later. All right, back up to center. Come to the middle. Take an inhale. Exhale over to the other side. Oh, so just let your shoulder melt down towards the floor. Relax into the stretch. On my back cracked. Okay. Back to center. Let's put both legs up. Say hello to your hamstrings. Pull the legs in towards you a little bit. You can flex through the feet and stretch the calves, the Achilles a little. See how that goes. All right, then hang on to the right leg. Send your left leg out long. Hover the heel. Hover the heel above the floor. So we're just bringing the stretch into the back of the right leg and, you know, hovering the heel. It's probably a nominal amount of abdominal work right now. Oh. Nominal. Oh. Lift your head and shoulders up off the floor. Try and keep your shoulders away from your ears and just make sure you're breathing as you're here. All right, let's switch sides. Keep your head up and just switch your legs. You can use your hands, pull your leg in closer to you. Get a little more lifted maybe. Yeah. Let's switch back to the first side. Pull the leg in and then see if you can keep it that close and let go and reach your hands forward. So your leg is actively trying to get closer to you. Reach your toes up and over your head. Switch, take a second to pull your leg in. Pull your left leg in. Try and lift your shoulder blades off the floor. And keep yourself up, keep your leg where it is, and reach the hands. So your leg is actively pulling, right? Pull your toes to the floor over your head. Right, just pull them up and over. Take one more breath. It's gonna be sweaty. Both legs up, and let's go on down. Whew. Take a breath. Relax for a moment. Just gonna build a little heat. You know, we were laying down for a while, so. All right, so we're just gonna do that, but in a slightly more active fashion where we'll just scissor the legs forward and back, up and down, a few times, several times, an undetermined amount of times. Okay, so both legs up, yeah. Press your low back into the floor. If your head starts to feel heavy, you can always bring your hands behind your head. And we can start out that way. So let's start there, hands behind, take an inhale. Exhale, lift up, right? And then you can keep your hands like this and just scissor your legs without the arms, or you can do a little pull of the leg in if your neck is okay. So let's do that. Right leg in, left leg long. And then we'll go, just keep switching side to side, left and right, right? That little extra pull at the top if you like, or hands behind your head if that's better for your neck, right? And just keep switching, legs nice and long, right? Legs super long, like you want to touch the ceiling as you reach your foot down toward the floor, right? Pull them in, yeah. All right, I'm gonna give my neck a little bit of a break. Couple more. Your abs still work, whether your hands are behind your head or not. Oh my goodness. All right, here we go. One more time on each side. I don't remember how I started this whole thing. Okay, up and down. Let's relax. Ah, your abs. Hopefully you have some heat there anyway. All right, let's do some cat-cow. Roll forward and back a couple times. Right along the length of the spine. Oh, that's good. Okay. And then over hands and knees. Cat-cow ourselves. Okay. Find your tabletop. Let's inhale. Draw the heart forward. Lift the chest. Lift the sit bones. Exhale. Tuck in the tail to round the spine. Yeah. Inhale forward. And exhale to round. That's it. 2 more times. Stretch the belly. And stretch the back. 1 more each way. And lift. As you exhale back, let's sit all the way back into the child's pose. Take a breath or two here. Right, so this is a nice place to come and rest if you need a break, if you need a moment. Resting in child's pose is encouraged and welcome. All right, so on that note, lift and make our way into downward facing dog. Walk the hands forward, tuck your toes, lift your hips. Oh, press back. If you like, you can pedal the heels a time or two. Shake out your head. Whatever wiggling around will feel good, and downward facing dog helps you kind of get in the zone, I guess. And steadying your down dog. Steady your body. Steady the legs. Smooth out the breath. Land the gaze so you're just looking back between your feet, and just pick a spot and soft gaze there. Fire up the legs, press back with the thighs. Try and press your whole hand into the floor. Press the index finger knuckle down. Press the thumb, and then really activate your legs. Press back, hug the rib tips in. Take an inhale. Exhale, lift your heels, bend your knees, gaze forward, walk forward, float forward. Bring your feet to your hands. Lift the chest, come halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Inhale. Fold back down, exhale. Firm the glutes, rise up, inhale. Sweep the arms. Exhaling the hands to the heart. Drop your gaze to your fingertips. Maybe close your eyes. Set an intention for your practice. So you can reaffirm why you came onto your mat today, or if you have an intention in mind, you can dedicate your efforts, right? Offer it up to the greater good. It's certainly useful these days. Take an inhale through the nose, big breath. And soft sigh, exhale out through the mouth. Release your hands down. You can open your eyes or keep them closed. Turn the palms out. Inhale, stretch up. Reach for the sky. Exhale, hinge at the hips and fold in half. Empty the breath. Inhale, lift the chest, lengthen forward. Exhale, fold back down. Just one half sun salute. Firm the glutes to rise. Inhale, coming all the way back up. Exhaling, pressing the palms, pulling the hands through the middle. Let's keep going. Inhale, reach. Exhale, up and over, fold in half. Yeah. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, bend the knees, plant the hands, step the right foot, step your left foot, come into your plank pose. Oh, plank pose. What? Curl the tailbone under. Lean forward so you feel the weight in your hands. Press into your fingertips. Take one more inhale, hug the belly to the spine. Exhale, bend your elbows. Let's lower to the floor, come all the way down. Reach your hands back. We'll take a couple rounds of Shalabhasana. Curl the tailbone under, lift the head, the chest, lift the legs. Press up with the thighs, inhale. Exhale, come on down. So hug the legs in. Try and reach with the inner thighs up towards the ceiling. Right, curl the tailbone under. And then inner thighs lifting up. Lift the head, the chest, lift your legs. Right, lift with the inner thighs. Try. Inhale. Exhale, come on down. It may seem kind of like an impossible thing to do, but we really want a little bit of that reaching with the inner thigh so we can curl the tailbone under, make some space. Take a breath, inhale. Exhale, let's come up, inhale. Lift the chest, lift the legs. Reach the inner thighs up. Right, curl the tailbone under. Lift the chest, take one more breath, reach the arms overhead. Inhale, and come on down, exhale. Oh my goodness, okay. Whew. Take a breath to soften. All right, plant your palms by your ribs. So yeah, I gotta keep doing, I have to do knees plank still. Trying not to break my shoulder or break it more. So I'm gonna do knees plank. But if you're doing okay, you can do regular plank. I say go for it. Tuck your toes, take an inhale, exhale, press the floor away, plank, inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. All right. Settle in. So here too in your down dog, there's a subtle reaching of the inner thighs back. So see if you can feel that too. It's like you're lifting your legs in Shalabhasana with that same action of the inner thighs rotating in and reaching away. Press back, inhale. Exhale, lift the heels, bend the knees. Walk or float your feet to your hands. Lift the chest, come halfway up, inhale. Fold back down, exhale. Rise on the inhale, coming all the way up. Exhaling. All right, keep going. Hands down, palms out, inhale. Up and over, exhale. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, bend the knees, hands down, left foot back. Right foot back into your plank pose, which maybe feels a little different this time. That first one's always kind of rough. And then once you get one under your belt, they kind of, I don't know, right, Mike? It's like it's easy now.
Absolutely.
No big deal. All right, lean forward, inhale. Exhale, bend your elbows, say hello to Chaturanga, and then come all the way down. Shoo, flatten your feet. Same reaching with the inner thighs, right? Sending the inner thighs up. Inhale, lift the chest, curl the tailbone under, cobra pose. Exhale, lengthen forward and down. Reach through the big toes, right? Lengthen through the inner seams. As they're reaching up, they're also lengthening back. Take an inhale, lift the chest. Press the palms. Draw the shoulders back. Move the heart through. Inhale. Exhale, come on down. All right, one more time. Keep the legs in close to the midline. Press the whole top of the foot. Press the pinky toes. Reach with the inner thighs. Inhale, lift up. Curl the tailbone under. Scoop the heart up. And let's press back down dog. Tuck the toes, lift the hips. Downward facing dog. Right, smooth out the breath. Strong legs pressing back. Reach with the sit bones up and back. Inhale. Exhale, gaze forward. Lift the heels. Bend the knees. Walk. Float feet to hands. Halfway lift. Inhale. Fold. Exhale. Inhale all the way up. Rise. Exhale the hands to the heart. Okay, so we're going to grab our blocks. I think everyone has a block. If you don't have a block, it's not the end of the world. But if you have a block, put it this way, the skinny way, between your legs. Right, the skinniest possible way. And then squeeze it, and like you want it to go behind you. Kind of roll the inner thighs in a bit, and the block will kind of move maybe an inch or maybe less, but behind you a little bit. We're going to try and keep that action happening, right? Give it a squeeze. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. Keep trying to send the block back behind you. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, bend your knees, hands down. You can kind of short walk it back, or squeeze your block and jump it back. So as you get to your plank pose, keep doing the same thing. Send the block to the ceiling and then hug the outer heels in, your outer ankles in. Right, send the block to the ceiling, hug the ankles in. Pull it back up a little bit, there we go. All right, chaturanga if you can, or the floor. Bend your elbows. Keep sending the block to the ceiling. Inhale, lift the chest. Block to the sky, tailbone under, heart up. Use the block, send it back, downward facing dog. Whew. I'm sorry I didn't feel your breath. Send the block back. Right, reach it away, and then reach the heels to the floor. Hug the outer heels in. Take one more inhale. As you exhale, lift the heels, bend the knees, block, float your feet to your hands with your block. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. Keep sending the block back. Inhale, reach up. All the way up. Exhale, hands to heart. Okay, we're gonna do block Utkatasana. What? So, keep your block. Soon we will release it, but one more. What? Sort of. With the block. I don't want to imply that we're never going to use it again. All right, here we go. Hands down, bend your knees. Try and touch the floor. Keep squeezing your block. Lift the chest. All right, so sending the block down and then firm the glutes. Right? We want to give those glutes a good squeeze as we're here. We want to hold the block and squeeze the glutes at the same time. Just like we were doing earlier in our back bends. Lift the chest up. Reach up. Inhale. Hug the block. Exhale. Hold. Whew. Inhale. Halfway lift. Send the block away. Send it back. Keep sending it back. Bend your knees. Flat your hands. You can tiny step it back. Send the block back. Jump back. Oh, really activates those inner thighs. Lower chaturanga if you can. To the up dog, inhale. Send the block to the sky. Exhale. Send it back. Downward facing dog. Oh, the block. All right, just let it go. It's like you laid an egg. Your block egg. Whew, free your legs up. All right. You can maybe bring the feet a little closer together. Send your right leg up into the air. Oh, take that stretch. That's going to feel pretty good. Lift the knee, the hip. Yeah, stretch your inner thighs. Okay, good. Square the hip off. Keep your leg lifted. So outer right hip down. Reach the right heel back. Straight legs. Take an inhale. I have to take a sip. Exhale, pull your knee to your nose. Round the spine, squeeze it in. Inhale, lift the leg up and back. So do that 2 more times. Exhale, round, squeeze. Inhale, reach. 1 more. Round the spine, pull it in, stay forward, squeeze, look forward, lean forward, step your foot between your hands. Whew. Yeah, all the way up, there you go. Bend your back knee a little bit. Let's come up, crescent pose. All right, so think about your block, even though obviously you can't hold it between your legs right now. But imagine that you were, especially with the back leg. Send the block to the ceiling with your back leg, right? Get that squaring off action, and that may deepen the stretch at the front of your hip enough that you're like, ooh, I don't need to straighten my leg anymore, right? But reach the inner thigh. Reach it away like you're sending the block. Lift the hips up. And then, right, as we get into this pose, we do get a little compressed in the lower back. Can we lift the back ribs off the waist? Can you breathe across the low back, across the kidney band, as your heart lifts, As you press the upper arms back, feel that big stretch in the front of the body, especially on the left side. Take an inhale and release it. Exhale, hands come down, pause. We're gonna straighten the front leg, any amount, maybe all the way, and just easy Parsvottanasana. If you like, you can bring the back foot closer. You don't have to. If it makes sense to stay long, stay long. Folding in, maybe you flex your front foot. Oh, maybe you let the right toes turn out to the right a little bit. See how that feels. Feel free to have blocks under your hands. Sorry, I have to say that part. All right, back to center. Bending the front knee. Find your lunge. Let's step back plank. Take your vinyasa. Skip it, modify, right? Walk to the ceiling. And then lower. Maybe to the floor. Right? Do cobra pose, but send the block to the sky. Firm the outer ankles in. And then down. Right, press it back. Good. Reach the hips up and back. Really stretch and lengthen. Down dog. So delicious. Send your left leg up into the air. Turn the toes out. Lift your hip. Bend your knee. Stretch. Right, so this is for you, however much stretch you want. You don't have to have a huge stretcher. Maybe that's what makes sense for you today. Oh, inner thighs. Okay. Square your hips. Straighten the leg. Lengthen the outer right hip back. Right? Reach the left inner thigh to the sky. Take an inhale. Exhale, knee to your nose. Pull it in round. Inhale, reach the leg. Exhale, shift forward. Knee to your nose. Inhale, reach the leg up and back. Last time, coming forward. We'll hold it forward. Keep leaning forward. Look forward. Pull your knee through your arms and step your foot between your hands. Whew. Then we'll bend the back knee a little bit. Root the inseams of the feet. Of course, that big toe, especially on the back foot, that's all you get. Right, and we'll come up. So, same idea. Lifting up through the hip bones, can I also use the back leg inner thigh, my right leg inner thigh, to send the block to the ceiling, or send it back, right? As if we were still squeezing the block between our legs. Right, reach it back. Find the stretch at the front of the right hip. It's largely why we're here, right? Hip bones up, hip bones up. Lift the chest. Fill the back of the waist. As you lift your back ribs off your waist, can you expand across the kidney band? Fill that up. Oh. Press the upper arms back as you hug the rib tips in. Find the stretch. Maybe look up. Take an inhale. Release it, exhale. Whew. Hands to the floor. Straighten your front leg. Oh. Lengthen the left hip back. Maybe you bring your back foot a little closer. Feel free. You can take a few breaths with the front foot down, but then consider lifting the toes, flexing your foot, dorsiflexing your foot. That helps clarify, right, Mike? Absolutely. Sometimes I don't even know what that means. Toes out to the side. I have to think about it. Which one is that one again? Hold on. All right. Back to center. Bend the knee, your left knee that is. Plant your hands, step back. You're in plank. You can vinyasa. You can go straight to down dog. You can take a breath or two in the pose of the child. Whatever makes more sense, right? Yeah, catch your breath. Whew. Right? Just appreciate how your body feels right now. Different from when we started, right? You get into down dog and you're like, oh, down dog, thank God. That first couple was dicey, but then it becomes your friend, your buddy, your pal. All right, hugging the belly to the spine. Press back, stretch, get long, inhale. Exhale, lift the heels, bend the knees, walk, float, bring your feet to your hands, lift up halfway, inhale. Fold, exhale, bending the knees for Utkatasana. So the challenge now is going to be actually to keep the knees from really collapsing in towards each other. We still want that activation of the legs. Really, it's a sense of the whole thigh bone pressing down. And then we squeeze our glutes. Reach up, hug the ribs in, take an inhale. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Inhale, lengthen forward. 5 breaths. Exhale, left elbow outside the right knee. And you know what? Go ahead and let your left knee push a little forward. Press into the palms, open the chest. More, can you keep your glutes engaged? Can you keep the outer right hip lengthening back? I'm gonna face this way, right? So your hips are roughly, your knees rather, are pointing forward. And the hips have a slight rotation. Maybe the arms open, last breath. We're coming through chair pose. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Squeeze your glutes, lengthen forward. Inhale. Exhale. Left elbow, right elbow, sorry, outside the left knee. And again, maybe the right knee pushes a little forward, but don't let it collapse, right? Both your knees pointing straight ahead. Press into the palms. Open your chest. Lengthen the heart forward as you inhale. As you exhale, maybe you can twist a little deeper. Bring the bottom hand to the floor, the top arm to the sky. Last breath. One more chair pose. Just the inhale and fold, exhale. Okay. Take a breath. Relax your legs. I know. All right, good job, everyone. We're not done though. Let's keep the show on the road. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, bend your knees, plant your hands, step back, jump back. I'm scared of the wall. Through the vinyasa you go. Making your way to down dog, yogi's choice, vinyasa again. Oh my goodness. Okay. Let's send the right leg up into the air. Inhale and up. Exhale. Round the spine. Squeeze, round, step. Your foot between your hands. Left heel to the floor for warrior one. Inhale, rise. All right, so here too. We're looking for this stretch. So same work with that back leg, inner thigh. We're sending the block, right? Imagine the block is still there and I need it to go behind me, out. Send it that way. Reach with the inner thigh. Press the back heel into the floor. Maybe bend a little deeper. Yeah, reaching up. Just like in our crescent pose, can we make space across the low back, the kidney band, right? Fill that up. Send the tailbone down, lift the heart, maybe bend a little deeper. Bring your hands to your heart. Hug the ribs in. Lengthen forward. Lengthen the outer right hip back and reach even more with the left inner thigh. Spin to the ball of the left foot. You're reaching so much with that inner thigh. And come forward into warrior three. Can you keep the left inner thigh reaching for the ceiling? Yeah. Okay. Shoulders hip high, maybe. Heel hip high, maybe. Arms out wide or overhead. Breathe. Energize the lifted leg. Outer left hip down. Hands to the floor. Whew. Take a moment. I know. Keep reaching with the lifted leg, inner thigh to the ceiling. Lift your chest. Inhale. Folding in. Exhale. Send your left big toe to the ceiling. The big toe mount. Try and bring your right hand to your right ankle. Firm the legs. Lift the shoulder blades away from the floor. Keep trying to roll the inner thigh, especially on the lifted leg. Maybe you can get a little light on the left fingertips and bring your left hand to your right ankle. Reach up with your left foot. One more breath. Take this back to warrior one. Bend your front knee. Inhale up. And exhale, hands to the floor. All right, spin onto the ball of the back foot. Drop your back knee. Take a breath, soften the front hip. So I'm gonna turn this way so you can see what I'm doing. Just turn your toes out and let the knee come out to the side. So I like to kind of come forward into it a little bit. So my knee is still kind of over my, or in the vicinity of my ankle. My hip. We're doing this for your hip. Okay, good, back to center. So now we're gonna stretch the back leg, that hip flexor a little bit more. Bend your back knee and see if you can reach your right hand back and catch your foot or your ankle. So now the job is gonna be, instead of peeling open, which, okay, and I do that for a breath, because I know it feels good, but come back and try and square off, right? You'll probably need to lift up a little bit, it's fine, right? But can you start to bring it back around to facing forward? Maybe both hands can reach back and catch that foot and bring it in. Lift the hip bones up. Keep this inner thigh reaching, just like we have the block there. Fill up the back of the waist. Lift your heart. Take one more inhale. Maybe bend a little deeper into that front knee. Oh my goodness, let it go. Foot to the floor. Step back. Your front leg has a big job. Oh, okay. Notice the difference, probably not that hard, between your two sides, and take a vinyasa or rest. I have to face the proper direction. Right. Oh. The floor. Oh my God, who eats chocolate? Oh God. Not me. Okay. Let's do the same thing on the other side. Ish. Inhale the left leg up. Exhale, rounding the spine, pull it through. Right heel down. I say ish because like we'll do the same poses, but I don't know how it's gonna go on this side. So same idea, where we're trying to square off by using the inner thigh, right? Sending the back leg inner thigh away. We bend into the front knee. Right, and then we don't wanna sacrifice our low back to this stretch. So we keep the hip bones lifting and we try and fill this up. Make some space back there. Right, lift the back ribs off the waist. Lift the heart up. Breathe into the lower back. Right, maybe bend a little deeper into the front knee. Oh my goodness. All right, hands to heart. Lengthen the left hip back. Lengthen your heart forward. Shoulders out of your ears. Right? You're reaching so much with that back leg, inner thigh, you can't help but come onto the ball of your back foot. Right? Outer right hip down. Come into warrior three. Inner right thigh lifting up. Right? Try and get the heel as high as your hip. Your shoulders as high as your hip. Can you keep some fullness in the low back across that kidney band? Arms out wide or overhead. How's your breath? Oh my goodness. 3, 2, 1. Hands to the floor. Whew, have a moment. I know your hip. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, as you fold, lead with the inner thigh, but start to lift the right leg a little higher. the right big toe to the ceiling. Grab your right ankle with your right hand. Maybe tuck the forearm behind the calf. How's your breath? Lift your shoulder blades away from the floor. As you reach up with the right big toe, maybe you can bring your right hand to your left ankle and balance. Urdhva Prasarada, Eka Padasana. One more breath. Woo! Bend your left knee, warrior one. Oh my gosh. Come on up. I am sweaty. Inhale. Exhale. Come on down. Spin onto the ball of your back foot. Drop the knee. Turn the toes out. Let the knee come out to the side. So what I was saying earlier about keeping my knee over my ankle, I just mean I'm not, like my foot's not forward, but it's more here, like I'm still in the lunge, but my knee's out to the side. I have to use my bandana to mop up my sweat, just like the cowboys in the olden days.
Well, there's a remedy for this, you know that.
More air conditioning?
No.
Back to
Less work.
I can't hear you. Plant your left foot. Bend your right knee. Feel free to give it some cushion. Reach back. Grab on. So if you want to fold your mat over, add a blanket, you know, do that. Oh, and you can have that moment of like, oh, heel open and all that. Oh, and then start to square off. Yeah. As you went back, your foot went down. Outer left hip back as you pull that heel in. Can you make some space across the low back? Oh, breathe into that stretch. Take one more breath. Maybe both hands back if you haven't already done that. Oh my goodness. All right, let it go. Oh, foot to the floor. Tuck the back toes, lift the knees, step back. Oh my gosh. I just appreciate the difference between your two sides. And maybe take a vinyasa. Maybe go straight to down dog or a breath in the child's pose. Oh my goodness. Downward facing dog. All right. Feel free to sigh breath out, shake your shoulders. So we're gonna, and I know this is gonna sound wrong, but it's not. Lift your left leg up into the air. I know. So that means we're gonna jump. We really want our right foot in between our hands, but we're gonna use the left leg to kind of give us a little forward momentum, right? So use your leg, bend your right knee, 1, 2, jump your right foot to your hands. Oh, there we go. It's fun, right? Bend your right knee, land your left foot back there. Warrior two. So if that didn't work out, right leg is forward, left leg is the back leg, and we're warrior two. Yes. Okay. Mucho gusto. That's not, doesn't mean what I always want it to mean, but there it is. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you, warrior two. There we go. Straighten your front leg. Trikonasana. Uttita Trikonasana. Make them forward. Keep the glutes engaged. The inner thigh is on the back leg is reaching, right? So that top hip has a little bit of forward and down. Like that. Come on in. Hug the belly in, right? Keep the glutes engaged. Keep the back leg strong, that inner thigh reaching. Breathe. One more breath here. Bring the gaze down. For Ardha Chandrasana, the top hand you can put on your hip if you like, or you can keep it up in the air. Right hand, reach, step, and come on. right? Lengthen the outer left, right, rather, hip back. And then again, the inner thigh on the lifted leg is actually rolling in a bit to lift the whole leg up. Hug the belly. Again, can you fill up the back of the waist? Keep that action. Maybe bend the top knee. Grab the left foot. Chapasana and Ardha Chandrasana, the full moon. It was a full moon. Last night, night before, one of those. Anywho, enjoy that stretch. Keep the belly lifting. Release the foot. We'll exit through warrior two, back to where we started this sequence. Bend your knee. Land. Oh, reverse it. So nice. Lift the hip bone off the thigh. Heart to the ceiling. Inhale, warrior two. And exhale. Right hand, left hand, stepping back. Vinyasa or no vinyasa. The vinyasas are winding down, so that helps in your decision-making process. There's only one or two left. All right. Jeez Louise. I'm sweaty. Okay. Oh, it is. Okay. Let's do the other side. Send your right leg up into the air. So, same idea, where we'll use the lifted leg like a sail, kind of, right, to help us bring the right foot forward, left foot forward. So you'll bend your left knee, right, really use the lifted leg, 2, and a 3. Yeah. Land your right foot back there, heel to heel, warrior two. So warrior two with the left foot forward, just in case. That got screwy. All right, I got hair in my mouth. Oh, shoot. All right. Pin your outer left hip back. And again, this inner thigh, we really don't want to just pull this open. We want this inner thigh to do that same reaching like we're sending the block back. Right, we want that here. Slowly straighten your front leg. Keep the back leg, squeeze your glutes, lengthen forward, forward, forward. Come into your triangle pose, filling up across the back of the waist. Right, keeping the glutes engaged, the outer right hip firm, but the low back wide and full. Oh, maybe look up. All right, keep all of that. Keep all of that, look down. Maybe top hand to the hip, right? Maybe we keep it reaching up in the air. Bend your left knee, reach forward, maybe step. Come on in. Oof, right, the belly, again, hugging back, full across the kidney band. Reach the top leg, inner thigh, towards the ceiling to lift the leg. Right, and then maybe you bend the knee and catch the foot and find the Chapasana stretch. Keep trying to fill the lower back. Right, reach through the lifted knee, open the chest, breathe. I know. Release the foot, Ardha Chandrasana, bend the left knee, Virabhadrasana 2, warrior 2, reverse. Oh my goodness. And then up on the inhale, and release it on the exhale. Step back, vinyasa, or don't vinyasa. Feel free to take a breath or two in the child's pose.
That was sweaty.
I'm sweaty too. But at least we know we're working hard. I'm like, glad I have this bandana.
I'm sweating.
Right. Oh my goodness. Okay, we're doing it. A little bit of sweat in my eyeballs. Okay. Downward facing dog. All right, the piece de resistance.
Oh, God.
I don't know. What? One last thing. That's not entirely true, but right foot forward. Inhale it up. Exhale. Stuff your right foot between your hands. We're going to make our way into Hanumanasana. Splits. The splits. Slowly. Okay. So first, just lunge with the back knee down. Let's keep the back toes tucked. Okay, let's keep the back toes tucked. And think about the inner thigh reaching to the ceiling. Right, do that. Oh, the hip flexor can be a hugely limiting factor in our Hanumanasana. That's this guy here, the foot. What you're hopefully feeling is stretch right now. Okay, then we'll press the hips back. Push your right foot forward. So your hips are forward of your knee. Right, my back leg is at a diagonal. And fold into that stretch. Keep your back toes tucked. Right, all your toes on the floor. And then we'll just slowly forward and back. Right, we'll push the front heel forward. We'll move the back knee back. Right, however much, until you're as close to the floor as you're gonna get. And maybe that means you're touching the floor. But what I want you to do before you get that far is to check in with your back leg and see, could you reach that inner thigh up to the ceiling a little bit more? We're trying to square the hips. We are not cheerleaders, okay? We could do it this way, but this is not yoga. Okay. This requires more concentration, right? It requires more paying attention. Add your block. If the floor is impossibly far, fill the gap with your block. Right? Fill the gap with your block. Once you're there, engage your legs. Right? Engage your legs. Pull them in towards each other like you're going to stand up. Now, if this isn't enough, which maybe it is and maybe it isn't, maybe you want to add bending the back knee and grabbing your foot or your ankle back there. You know, my shoulder may or may not want me to do this. It doesn't. I'm not going to force that. But in any case, you can pull that heel in if you like, lift your chest up. As you're ready, we'll bring the foot back down. Oh my goodness. All right, press into your hands. Pull, 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 pull. Oh my gosh. Oh. As you get to your down dog, or whatever you're doing, just notice the difference between your two sides. Oh, right, it's totally asymmetrical. Let's even it out. Left foot forward. Move. So we're gonna stretch. Take a few breaths to get in there. For most of us, it's that hip flexor that's the problem. Not that the hamstring isn't also an issue, but usually the hip flexor is actually more limiting than the hamstring. Oh my gosh. So into that stretch. Let me get forward a little more. There we go. Right, and the key is to just take your time. It's a huge stretch. Right, there's really no need to rush it. Right? Tucking the back toes. It helps to keep the leg straight. Not straight, but not rotated in the hip socket. Right? So we're doing that reaching with the inner thigh on the back leg. Woo! Right? Enjoy that. Oh my gosh. So maybe you get onto the floor, maybe not. Same here, add your block at any height, right? Whatever works. Once you're there, kind of get a little active, pull in. Still trying to fill up the back of the waist, especially if you want to add bending the back knee and drawing that heel in. I wanted to do this on the first side, but my shoulder was not having it. I'm so sweaty. I don't know if I can stay this way. My foot might slide out of my arm. But, right, breathing into the low back, maybe up and over. Oh yeah, look, I did it. Right, enjoy the stretch. Be nice to your low back. This is such great work for your hips. Okay. Gently releasing as you're ready. Square that back off. Okay. Let's get out of here. Let's get out of here, guys. Oh, I'm taking my mat. Go back. Go back. Oh my goodness. Okay. I say child's pose. I say child's pose. Take a breath or two. Oh my gosh. Ooh, just appreciate your legs, your hips, your hamstrings, your hip flexors. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I know not everyone has a wall for upside down time. So if you're having to use your furniture, then you'll just do what you can, you know, and like put your feet up and, but if you have something to like fall into a wall, i.e. a wall, then we can play with, you know, jumping less, using the block. We've done this a little bit in class before. If you need a break for upside down time, feel free to take a break. You know, put your legs up, do a bit of karate. But you know, so maybe with your block, and since the wall's right here, I'll show you actually at the wall. I would say, you know, use your preferred leg first, just because usually that's a little bit easier for your brain to wrap around. 1 foot on the block, hands on the floor. So this already may feel a little scary because it does push you into your hands quite a bit, but that's what we need, right? Ultimately, you're gonna be all the way into your hands. So with the least amount, the minimum amount of jumping, you're super stretchy, you've done the splits, reach the lifted leg, lean, and see if you can maybe without even jumping, come up into your handstand. Right, come back down, same leg, right, go slow, slow, right, and then try the other side. Up and down, your other foot up, my hamstrings are really flexible. Okay, lean, I'm really appreciating that right now. Oh, there it is. Come on, buddy. So see how it goes, right? Play with it. Slowly, 1 foot down. Okay, go. Oh my gosh, right? Or whatever upside down thing is gonna work for you, but give it a go. You never know. Try and get upside down. The least amount of jumping, right? It'll just help to build the strength of your back, which is good. Your back muscles are what helps you stand up tall. So we want them to be strong. A little slowly. You've seen it, you know. Yeah. And again, if you're using your furniture, you can just put one leg up in the air. You could also play with sliding yourself up a little further away and letting your top leg go back, like you're doing splits in your handstand, right? Up. Balancing. Didn't even get to the wall. My foot never actually touched the wall. But you know what I mean. Okay. You get it. It's there. I was trying to balance. I was also trying to touch the wall, but I only made one of those things happen. obligated to try the other leg. If I go a little bit closer, I'll find it faster. Right? I know it's back there. Oh, it's right there. I must have been pretty close last time. The hard part is the back leg. Like it doesn't want to go down. Like your back leg just stays kind of straight up in the air. Anywho. Right?
It's not as straight up as you think it is. It's pretty.
That time it was, but that's because I was using the wall. Like when it's hard when you're balancing is that back leg, it's sort of, and in your mind, it's all the way, you're like totally doing the splits, but it's not. It never is where you think it is. Okay, let's give ourselves time for a couple of back bends. Is that enough upside down time? Do you need one more? All right, if you're currently upside down, let's come down. If you have your legs up the wall, let's get your legs down and we're gonna do a couple of back bends. So, and potentially an ecopata. So if we do the one-legged variation, we'll definitely do that in bridge pose. Maybe Urdhva, but only Urdhva-Dhanurasana if you can straighten your arms. I mean, only the ecopata variation in Urdhva if you can straighten your arms. But we'll start in bridge pose. And you don't have to do the one-legged version in bridge pose either. But I'll offer it as an option. Okay, so on your backs, knees bent, feet flat. If you want to work the action of the legs, you can use your block. We haven't done this in so long. In our back bend, in our bridge pose between the thighs. Right, you know you want to. Okay. To get that same action, so you're still rolling the block. As we come up, it'll be down towards the floor, right? And then pressing the whole foot evenly down. So giving the block a good squeeze. Send it down towards the floor. Right, keep that lengthened through the tailbone. Interlace your fingers underneath you. You'll find that the block kind of keeps your feet sort of close together too. Lengthen the tailbone. Puff your chest. Oh my goodness. One more breath. Oh. Slowly release it, come on down. So if you think you want to do ecopata, you're going to need to take the block out. But you could put it flat on the floor between your feet. I prefer it this way between the feet. You could do it that way between your thighs, but I find it sort of hurts my legs. But between the feet, it's easy. Okay. So that'll just keep you kind of mindful of what your feet are doing. Touch your heels with your fingertips. If you can't, then you need to get them closer. All right. Lift the hips. Lengthening through the tailbone. Imagine the block. We're still trying to send it to the floor. Do the opposite interlace as you come up. Get really set. Puff your chest. There's the block. All right. So if you are going to do ecopata, I'm going to say push the block out of the way with your feet and get them closer together. Pull your right knee in. Send your right leg up towards the ceiling. Press your left inner foot into the floor. Bring that foot down. If you can, do the other side. If you need a break, take a break. Press the whole standing foot down, lengthen through your tailbone. Bend the knee. Find your regular pose, and then come on down. Oh, it's hard when you're sweaty. Everything's sliding on the floor. I'm having to like pull so hard. Okay. Oh, ideally, I would have a towel underneath me right now. That would mop up the sweat. I know. After I got here, I thought of that. I was like, last time I did say I was going to bring a towel, and did I? No, I did not. Okay. I am going to come up into Urdhva. You can also do that or do bridge pose again. Either way, last round. So whichever makes more sense for you. If you only did the Ekapada on one side, then you know what you have to do. Okay, as you're ready. Whew, let's come on up. Plant your hands. If you're doing Urdhva, I'm trusting that you know what you're doing. Hug your elbows in. Lifting up. Oh my gosh. Enjoy that stretch. Maybe the Ekapada. You don't have to, but maybe you do. Breathe. Coming down as you're ready. I laughed because I was already down and I forgot to say it to you. Okay, so that's it. No more bad things. Take a moment to just lie flat. That last one felt pretty good. It was very warm. Okay, and then we'll hug the knees in. Give them a squeeze around the spine. Especially your low back, right? Counter stretch. If you like, you can pick your head up and just pull your head in towards your knees. I like to pull the soles of my feet. Just pull them in. I can squeeze into a tight bowl. All right. Come on down. All right, let's come up and we'll do a couple of things from seated. All right. So feel free to rock and roll forward and back a time or two, or if you want to just roll to your side and press up, or however you want. Okay. We still have a few minutes. We still have time. All right. Sitting tall, you can see, I'm sweaty. Prapashimottanasana from Dandasana. So currently, Dandasana, seated staff. Right, ground through the thighs. Your hamstrings are probably pretty warm. So, enjoy this. Reach up, take an inhale. Exhale, lengthen. Oh, your back will thank you. Maybe you catch your feet if you can, or use a strap, or, your hands can even be on the floor, but inhale, lift halfway up, and exhale, lengthening forward. If you're holding your feet, catch the pinky edges, right, and just draw them back. Take a few breaths here and just think about lengthening the spine, right? Get the spine long through the crown of the head. Lengthen through the heels, lengthen back through the sit bone. Halfway lift in. Release the rest of the weight. Exhale. We're going to Upavishta and take a twist. So legs wide. That block squeezing. You got to stretch your inner thighs. Okay. Oof. Sit up tall. So we start in a very similar thing of Dandasana where we're active through the legs, lengthening through the heels, and we lengthen forward, just like Paschimottanasana. Right, trying to rotate the pelvis. So as the pelvis turns and tips back, we lengthen the inner thighs. Potentially also the hamstrings, but you'll probably, possibly feel more inner thigh stretch here. So we're really trying to lift the sit bones up and back. You can catch your toes if you like. You can keep your hands on the floor for support. You can put something under your head. Boy, I am stretchy today. Those splits really loosen up your hips. All right, last breath. And then slowly up. Oh. Okay, one heel comes in. Let's bring that left heel in. All right. So Parivrita, Janu Shirsasana, it's kind of a gentle stretch. I mean, twist. It's a pretty big stretch, but it's kind of the twist isn't huge, which is fine. We don't need a huge twist right now. So here it is, rotate. Rotate your chest, your shoulders. So we're turning towards the bent knee, right? So you want to face the left leg and then sit your right sit bone back down. Okay, keep that. Reach your right hand for your right leg, back of the hand. Keep facing your left leg, but slide your hand down the inseam of your right leg until you hit your foot. And you maybe catch your foot. Maybe you don't make it to your foot. It's okay, but that's about as far as you need to go. Use that leverage of your hand inside your leg to sweep the left arm. Oh my goodness. Up and over. So think about the twist happening in the chest, in the shoulders, right? Opening the chest to the ceiling. Sit the left sit bone down now. You can keep looking up. You can look straight ahead if your neck starts to get a little cranked, but keep trying to open the chest. All right, and then we'll add everyone's favorite neck stretch. Turn your gaze down. Sweep the left arm up and over and reach your fingers away like you're pressing down on a giant spring until you find that stretch, the one in the side of your neck. You can play with the angle of your head. Tuck your chin, turn your head, lift your chin. See. We're all going to be a little bit different here. Where does your body like to keep the tension? And maybe you have some soreness, like maybe you were doing some work outside, or I don't know. All right. Slowly reach with the left hand to sit yourself back up. And just take a moment as you come to seated upright and just let that settle, and then we'll switch sides. So kick your left heel out and bring your right heel in. And as you turn one hand on either side to face your right leg, just sit your left sit bone back down, right? And just work the rotation from there. Reach your left hand to the left inner leg. Keep facing your right leg, but slide your hand down your leg. Maybe you get to your foot, maybe not. If you do, maybe you catch your foot. Use that leverage to help open the chest a little more, right? Sweep the right arm up and over, lengthening the right side. Now sit the right sit bone back down to deepen the stretch. Enjoy that. Breathe into that. You can keep looking up. You can look straight ahead, but just keep the chest opening. And keep that subtle rotation. All right, for the next stretch, I think it's useful to look down, and the right arm comes up and over. And again, like you're on that giant spring, press it down and stretch your neck. Can you soften the shoulders down? Play with the angle of your head. Right? Turn or whatever. See what feels good. All right. Last breath or two here. Appreciate the difference between your two sides. You may carry it quite differently from one side to the other. All right, reach with the right hand. Oh, sit yourself up. Just take a moment as you get to seated. All right, soften. We got it. Okay. Let's bring the soles of the feet together. And far away. Not far away. Far away. Sink the soles of the feet together, just not pulled all the way in like Baddha Konasana. We'll do the easy version. All right, as close as you need them to be though, so that you do feel some stretch in your hips. So that'll be a slightly different for all of us. If you want the intense version, you can pull your heels in. I'm not opposed to it necessarily. I'm just trying to help you relax because we got Shavasana right on the horizon here. So slowly forward, any amount until you feel your hips stretch. Like for me, we did so much stretching today. I need to pull my heels in a little bit more. But maybe you're in the perfect spot, and if you are, you should just stay right there. But if you're not, you know, make your adjustments. We will have a moment lying down to do a little bit more hip stretching closer to the midline. So, fear not. Folding forward as deeply as your body wants you to. Use your breath. You can sigh it out. Slowly come up. Oh my goodness. My hips. Bring your knees in. Take a breath or two here. We're going to lie down and one last hip stretching opportunity because I kind of think it would be nice to have something where your knees are more to the midline. So maybe go Mukasana legs. If this is something that your body lets you do, right? You'll cross nice and tight at the knees, one on top of the other. Reach down, grab your ankles, grab your heels. If you prefer to just do one leg at a time, you can cradle your one shin, right shin, left shin, doesn't really matter, right? And just do like a reclined pigeon pose, but consider bringing the knee kind of towards the midline of the body. And just see how that feels. It's delightful. It's delightful. All right, and then switching, crossing the other leg on top or just cradling the other shin in towards your chest, whatever makes more sense for you and your body today, right now, this precise Sunday morning, right? Totally different from any other Sunday morning. Maybe not totally, but different. Different. Explore the stretch on this side. Okay, I'm just gonna have some fun with it. Okay. Right, when you feel like you've stretched enough, if you want to do another twist, like lying down or whatever, feel free to do a reclined twist right now. If you want to do a happy baby, grabbing onto your feet or your ankles or whatever you can reach. Do a little softening of the low back, hips. All right, but in any case, it is Shavasana time. So finishing up any last stretchy things that you're doing. And if you want, you can do Viparita Karani and put your legs up the wall, or you can just lie flat right where you are, extending the legs, adding whatever props, a blanket or a bolster, whatever like that. But whatever you're doing, soften your shoulders away from your neck. Let the tops of the shoulders feel nice and spacious. Your neck feel long. Take up as much space as you need to feel comfortable and just soften. Let your whole body relax into gravity. Again, relax in your face. Soften your throat, the sides of your throat, and the back of your neck. Allowing the whole body to relax. The whole body to rest. Shavasana. Slowly begin to deepen your breath. Wiggle your fingers, your toes, just bringing awareness back into the body. If you like, add a stretch, reach the arms overhead, stretch your legs. All right, and then hug your knees in, give them a squeeze. Maybe rock gently side by side, or side to side. Yeah, that makes more sense. And then roll to your right side. And feel free to pause on your side for a couple breaths to just enjoy this easy feeling of Shavasana. Let it linger. When you're ready, we'll press the floor away and come up to seated. And as we come to sit. Let's close our eyes. And take a moment to pause and just check in and notice. Appreciate the effects of your practice. Grateful for this opportunity. All right, bringing the hands to press at the heart. Inhale, lift your heart. Exhale, gently bowing in. Grateful, grateful, grateful. Grateful for this practice and for all the goodness it brings, all the joy, all the sweetness. Right. What else? What are you grateful for? Just take a moment to remind yourself of how lucky you are. We're so lucky. We really have everything. Very grateful, grateful, grateful. Thank you for practice, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. Namaste. Namaste, namaste. Thank you. All right. Thank you, everyone. I hopefully will, let's see your faces. Oh, hey, Barb and Bob. Feel free to, yeah, hi, guys. Nice to see everyone. Are there more? Hi, Barb. Should I unmute you guys? Oh, there you go. Hello. Oh, wait, I'm getting chopped off. There we go. How's it going? Nice to see you.
It's the A-team. Look at this.
I know, right? Wait, here's Mike.
Hey.
Yeah, so we're doing it. Good to see you all. All right. I hope you have a wonderful Sunday.
Thank you. The universe.
You too, Christine.
The heat, yeah, thank you. Huh? 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 Did you say something to me?
I'm so tired.
I know, I'm sweaty. You can see my sweatiness on my shirt.
I want to say 5, but I'm being lazy.
Oh, okay. I know, that's how it is. Oh my goodness.
That was a great class. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Nice to see all of you.
There's
I hope
nice to
you
see
have a
you,
wonderful
buddy.
Sunday.
I'm coming in to say hi.
Hey, Bob.
Hello, dear. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Too bitchin' for words.
Right on.
That's my boy.
Groovy, Bob. Groovy.
Groovy. Way
Groovy.
groovy.
Super groovy.
There.
Right, exactly. Bruh.
Good to see you guys. Bye. Thank you, Christine. Good to see you.
Bye, guys. You're welcome. Good to see you. All right.